Hi everybody, my name is Frank DeBerg, and this is our first inaugural episode of Experimental Fish Whisky. I have a lot of very creative friends, and we have tons of great ideas that simply don't fit a weekly show format. So any of our weird ideas for videos will land right here. One week it may be a sketch, the next week it may be a vlog, and the week after that it may be something we just found funny. Who knows? And this is probably the weirdest way I could possibly kick off this series. But I just had to talk about this. If you read the title, you probably know what I'm talking about already. I am a huge fan of Mark Edward Fishbach, aka Markiplier. He runs one of the biggest gaming channels on YouTube, tours around the country doing live improv shows, and is one of the most genuine and caring people on the platform. But another thing he is known for is sketch comedy. Now, the quality has shot up from the days of Wade wearing an ill-fitting gray alien mask and... I mean, what is this? Is it a mop? 6 years later, and we've come a long way. We had the Choose Your Own Adventure video, A Date with Markiplier, which was a ton of fun to play through. Then there was the insanity that was Who Killed Markiplier. And now we have...
Wilford, MOTHERLOVING, Warfstache.
I never expected a comedy sketch with Markiplier in a pink mustache and as much homoerotic tension as the WWE would stick with me for so long. And I think that's primarily because defining this video as a comedy sketch doesn't really do it justice. There is so much ripe theory fodder here that I couldn't help but throw my hat into the ring. But before we begin, it may be necessary to give everyone a spoiler warning. So, if you haven't seen Who Killed Markiplier or Wilford Mother-Loving Warfstache, pause this video right now, go watch it. Who Killed Markiplier is a bit long, but trust me, it's worth the watch. Also, both of these projects had corresponding live streams where Mark tried to explain things. In the case of Who Killed Markiplier, he felt the need to because he thought the ideas he was trying to communicate just didn't come across. But with Wilford Mother-Loving Warfstache, he instead just pointed out a few details and clarified a few things. He didn't explain everything. He said a lot of people were getting it, and he didn't want to spoil the fun by coming out with the definitive answer. And in respect of what he said, I will be focusing primarily with what made it into the video, only using Mark's comments as a way to pick out details he found important. Finally, I'm going to take a note directly from Warfstache.
You're just too focused on the minutiae of it, the details, the who killed who, the who slept with who. You're not focusing on the big picture.
So clearly the minor details aren't evident so much as it is a hint at something larger, some big picture, deeper meaning. And with that being said, here are my top 3 theories on what the heck is happening in Wilford Mother-Loving Warfstache. Yes, I'm actually making this a video.
Life needed a bit of madness, but why should death be any different?
At the end of Who Killed Markiplier, the Colonel is driven mad with grief and shoots Abe, the detective, and the viewer. It's important to note that the audience is its own in-universe character who is unwillingly forced into being Abe's partner. The viewer is then stuck in what we'll call purgatory with Damien and Celine, who offer the viewer a chance to set things right. They say that death doesn't quite work right inside this house, and that the dead can come back. Mark had apparently used it quite a few times while he was studying the bizarre properties of the house, killing himself over and over, only to come back.
I discovered that in addition to being stabbed 37 times, he was also poisoned, beaten, strangled, drowned, and shot, in that order.
So with that in mind, consider this. Could Abe be dead? As Warfstache says, it's impossible to survive being shot in the heart. It's a broad generalization, but we'll go with it. And Abe seems to be suffering from memory loss that pertains in particular to the time in between being shot and the beginning of Wilford Mother-Loving Warfstache. Perhaps that's because no time has actually passed. Abe is still on the floor of the manor dying. In Mark's Breakdown livestream, he makes a point to say Abe is not being shot again. According to Mark, Warfstache just apologized for shooting him. He's not about to do it again. It's almost as if Abe is remembering being shot, remembering his current predicament. It's important to note that in his opening monologue, Abe gives a piece of advice to anyone who is on the run.
If you're running away from your problems, never become too attached to anything. Family, lovers, briefcases on top of your car. Some things are best left behind.
But wait, this draws a direct parallel between Abe and someone on the run. But he's not on the run, or is he? Warfstache also seems to roll things back to the disco, suggesting that they are prolonging an inevitability. Note that Abe is holding his gun and all the people are surrounding him, suggesting that they went back to the moment right before he shot the gun to clear the room. Sure, you'll be dead at some point, but we can delay that as long as we want. It's important to know that, according to Mark, Warfstache doesn't really have any powers. He is simply aware that the world doesn't make any sense. But you may be wondering what's up with the masks.
What are the masks? I don't know what you're talking about. What? No one's wearing a mask.
Well,
There we all are. We look so young.
let's bring it back to Who Killed Markiplier. When Damien and Celine offer you a chance to return to the land of the living, Mark points out that there is a third entity present, one that uses Markiplier's dead, motionless body to speak. This entity is a dark presence in the house, essentially the character of the house, who fuses with Damien and Celine to become the ongoing character of Dark. Note that Dark radiates blue and red light, where Damien and Celine glow blue and red, respectively. So it is canon that multiple spirits can combine into one entity. So what if the world of Wilford Motherloving Warfstache is all in his mind, and Abe is just the newest addition to the spirit collective in his mind? Well, it sure would fit the idea that the world is mad, because Warfstache himself is crazy. Plus, there are a few spirits trapped in the house that might want to take a ride in Warfstache. Yeah, I know what I said. Damien and Celine obviously aren't a part of this collective, since not only are they their own entity, but Warfstache makes several references to not having seen either of them in years.
I wonder what he's up to. There's Celine. My heart still beats for her to this day. But if she saw me, she'd probably carve mine out.
The other two confirmed spirits in the house would be the viewer, who gets essentially booted out of their body by Dark, and Abe. The Colonel obviously stays in the house to look for his lost friends as he starts going insane. Maybe he stays long enough for the spirits to figure out their way out of the house through the Colonel. So who are all these other people? Perhaps Warfstache's new victims? But then why has it taken so long for Abe to be assimilated? Well, two possibilities. One, things get jumbled. Cause does not necessarily lead to effect in this world. Like the gun firing does not immediately lead to Wilford dying. And two, Abe is resistant. He needs everything to make sense, and he hates the Colonel. He would naturally be more opposed to his influence. Plus, I couldn't help but think of this with all the lines that Warfstache says that have the word we.
There we all are. We look so young. We all did it. Now, what did we say about name calls? You killed people!
But at this point, we may be wandering off the path a bit. So I think that there is a far simpler solution that fits most of the evidence.
A little spoiler alert for later to make it easier on you. We all did it.
In his live streams, Mark has revealed that he has put a lot of effort into studying storytelling techniques. And he also points out one little detail.
That is very clearly a reference to Murder on the Orient Express. But it's not about what the story is. It's about the fact that he's talking about clearly a story that everyone knows. It's a story.
So sure, maybe Warfstache is confusing fiction with reality. Or what if Warfstache's world is fictional and he is slowly becoming aware of that fact? It's important to note that, according to Mark, Warfstache isn't sure yet what's happening to him, and he asks Abe certain questions to glean information for himself, specifically to figure out what point in time Abe is from. So are we looking at time travel? Well, our fourth wall breaking theory actually explains this quite elegantly. Imagine a book. It was written in the past, so it could be said that all of the events that occur in the book happened in the past. But most books are written in the present tense, so whenever you read them, the events are presently occurring. So it can be said that these events happen both in the past and in the present. And if you take it from the perspective of a fictional character or someone reading through the book, the events in the future can still be said to have occurred in the past and in the present. This is why Warfstache sees things as a jumbled mess, and why he can just take the night back to the disco to try again, or remind Abe of being shot and the bullet manifests itself. From his perspective, the disco scene is still happening, and Abe really is still dying on the floor of the manor. This theory would also explain why Abe has trouble remembering things before the beginning of this video. In theater, we say the character is born when they enter the stage and they die when they exit. All that really matters is what the audience sees. Now apply this to Wilford Mother-Loving Warfstache. We saw Abe get shot, so that happened. But we presumably didn't watch Abe track down Warfstache for years and years. He doesn't remember because that technically never existed in this world. Another possible explanation for the memory loss is the author, Mark in real life, never decided any of these details that Warfstache is asking about. And because there is no backstory Abe can rest on, he must try to remember events that never truly happened, revealing that none of this is real. And before I wrap up, I just wanted to point out this moment. When Warfstache appears in the background, Mark made a point to say that he purposefully timed this moment with Abe, questioning his reality. A little bit of fourth wall breaking as Abe wonders what the heck is going on. No, this isn't like the real Warfstache and the guy Abe is talking to is an imposter. Abe is starting to notice what Warfstache realized a while ago. The world just doesn't make sense.
And just for tonight, why don't we have a little fun?
Now, none of these theories are necessarily exclusive from each other. Obviously, if Abe is being assimilated, he is dead, but also, if Warfstache did absorb the viewer's spirit from Who Killed Markiplier, that could explain how he becomes self-aware. But overall, I want to congratulate Mark on making something so interesting out of something so inherently silly. The symbolism and attention to detail was incredible. From the absurd additions like the magically appearing vape, to the symbolism of Abe's world being black and white, both literally and figuratively. This video is a testament to what YouTubers can create. Mark also said he finished up the script for the next video, and I can hardly wait. So what about you? Do you have a theory about Wilford Mother-Loving Warfstache? Did I convince you of one of my theories? Let me know in the comments, and hey, while you're down there, let me know what you'd like to see on this show. We're making sketches, possibly music, and we'll even take suggestions. And eventually there will be more theories, so let me know what you'd like to see a future theory on. Thank you guys so much for watching, and subscribe for more content. And ring that notification bell to give yourself the illusion that you'll be notified of our future content. Reality is a lie. Everything is relative.